You're listening to Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Hey, welcome back to Midweek Politics. I'm David Pakman. A lot to talk about today. The other day I was at a conference, and I have to tell you, one of the most annoying things that ever happens at conferences is when you meet a handful of people, and one person just completely takes over the conversation. I was at a conference, and I'd met 3 or 4 people, and one guy, he was actually a radio guy, and usually the radio people are pretty pithy when they're having casual conversation. 6 or 7 minute monologues, not letting anyone else talk. I'm at the point now where in a normal situation, I would say, hey, can I have your card? I'm going to move on, or there's some effort to be at least somewhat polite. Not anymore. I literally just turned around and walked away in the middle of the guy talking because, come on. You got to have some conference etiquette, you know? Are we ready, Lewis? Or, I don't know, is everything good?
Andrew's making the call right now. She should be with us any second.
We're waiting on Shirley here, which is always a hoot. Let me mention our website, midweekpolitics.com. If you are not getting our newsletter, please go to midweekpolitics.com and sign up for it. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. You can also contact us via email, and that's radio@midweekpolitics.com. Okay, Shirley Phelps-Roper. Shirley, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. There's so much to talk about, and it's funny. We scheduled this with you a couple of weeks ago, and just 2 days ago, I hear that the Supreme Court is going to consider a case that involves your church.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
Is it good? You tell me.
It's so amazing because the Supreme Court is called the conscience of the nation, and this nation is sick. You know how the prophet said, from the sole of their feet to the top of their head, their wounds and bruises and putrefying sores, and so I'm saying, and their conscience is to blame. Their conscience knew better, but yet they twice put this country in serious jeopardy. I mean, crossing lines of no return. When they told women that they could murder their babies, and when they told this nation that they had to respect homosexuals in that Lawrence versus Texas case, they crossed a line.
So I want to get to the specifics of this Supreme Court, and I don't know, I hear a weird sound. I don't know if we're on speakerphone or what.
No.
Okay, good.
There's just some conversation. I'm going to walk away.
We'll try to get it sorted out on our end. So let me sum up what the case is, and you tell me if I'm summing it up the right way or the wrong way. There was a suit brought against you because of protesting at a funeral of a soldier who was not gay.
And guess when that was?
You tell me.
It was 4 years ago today.
Okay. So
in Westminster, Maryland.
Right.
And then the dad sued us.
And then he was awarded $5 million for emotional distress.
10.9.
Oh, I have $5 million here, so he got even more.
Well, 10.9, and then the court reduced it to 5.
And then that was overturned.
The Fourth Circuit said, hello, we have a First Amendment up in here.
And then
they never should have put this case before a jury.
Right. And then that decision was also appealed, and now the Supreme Court has agreed to hear it. Is that right so far?
That is exactly right.
Do you feel badly at all for the father in this case? I mean, was it his fault that his son was killed in Iraq?
You know, it's funny because on the day of that funeral, as we were driving in there, I felt so sad. I could not escape those words he was saying and the implications of them. He was in the media. He was saying, my son was the love of my life. And, you know, I have 11 children. I'm feeling that. And all I could think was, why did you do this to him?
What did he do?
Well, first he raised him in the Catholic pedophile monster.
Right.
Second, he sloughed off his wife. You know, priests rape children.
I've heard.
Yes. And rabbis rape children, by the way, now that we're talking about it. In fact, I did a Godsmack earlier this week that had so many. I had to string together a bunch of headlines about how much rape is going on.
What's a Godsmack?
Well, it's a thing you can follow on Twitter. God smacks you. God smacks you, all one word.
Okay.
And you follow that on Twitter, and so there's so many Godsmacks now. We can't possibly go picket every place where God is pouring out his wrath. And so a couple of months ago, we started a thing on our website called God Smacks You.
So let me ask you, will you be trying this case or will you have other representation?
Well, you know that I have a license or you may not know, in the United States Supreme Court.
I didn't know.
But I have a secret weapon, and her name is Marge, and she's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And she is she argued that case before the Fourth Circuit, and I think that she really would do good and I really would prefer to stand outside on that front big walk. Last Wednesday, they started marrying fags in D.C.
I know, yeah.
And then the same day, they had John Murtha. You know who he is?
Of course.
Okay. They had his memorial. So we had arranged where we were going to be for that memorial, and we get over there, and what do I see right before my eyes? Across the street is the U.S. Supreme Court. I was so happy. I knew it was them because I've picketed when they did the Lawrence versus Texas case.
And what did your sign say?
My signs, well, you mean for the Murtha or for the fag marriage?
For either. What's your staple, the big sign, the trademark?
My sign says God Hates Fags.
Okay.
That's what my shirt says, God Hates Fags. But because you always have to have that. That's the beginning of this discussion.
That's where it all starts, really.
Exactly, because when this nation started going the way of Sodom, we said, please, please don't do that 19 years ago, every single day for 19 long, weary years. We have been on the mean streets of this vicious, cruel nation that eats their children and otherwise. So
right.
Anyway, we're saying, please don't do this, because you're going to bring wrath on you, and God hates fags, and he's never going.
And I hope, I know that our intern Andrew is keeping a close eye on our conversation here. What do you think of the 9 justices on the court? I mean, are they gay enablers? Do you believe any are actually gay?
What, are you kidding me? Enablers?
Yeah.
Of the first water, they're the ones who crossed the line in Lawrence versus Texas. Do you know what was before them in that case?
I've read about it, but I know you're much more of a scholar than I am.
Can you prosecute people engaged in sodomy? So you understand that when they stick their noses into something that's not in front of them, those words are called dicta, obiter dictum. It just means it's there.
No, I get.
I just to do with the ruling.
I want to maintain some focus, though. Do you believe that any of the 9 justices on the court are gay themselves?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
And I don't care.
Do you know that there are 2 Jews on the court? Another group, myself included in that group, that you believe. You told me last time I'm going to hell. Do you know that 2 of the justices are Jewish?
I know that that one who seems almost senile. Frankly, I watched her on a NBC News report talking about her robe and the collar on her robe, and it was frankly shocking.
So are you worried that there will be 2 Jews on the court deciding this case?
She used to, the woman that I'm speaking of?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right.
This woman used to be the head of the ACLU. Here, let me tell you how worried I am.
You tell me.
Not at all.
Wow.
Because they're either going to obey the law of this nation, in which case they're going to tell this nation of rebels that have got their britches in a bunch over these words on these signs on a public right-of-way, obedient to the laws.
And how do you feel?
They're going to say to them, drink a frosty mug of shut the hell up and avert your eyes if you don't like those words.
Midweek Politics is brought to you in part by Just Coffee Cooperative, fair trade coffee from around the world, roasted daily at justcoffee.coop. By Jackson & Connor, classically modern men's apparel in Northampton, Massachusetts on the 2nd floor of Thorns Marketplace. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.